I'm Liz Donovan. I'm a certified coach that helps leaders create space, focus, and reduce overwhelm that they're feeling through strategies and mindset shifts. And one of the strategies I'm talking about today is effective one on ones. So, in a previous video, I talked about why you should have one on ones, and in this one, I'm talking about how often should they actually be happening. So, I want to do some objection handling up front. Your calendar is already packed, it's full of meetings, and I'm asking you to put additional meetings on. And also, you might have a lot of direct reports. I get it. But I'm going to go back to that theme I mentioned in the first video. You're investing time in order to make time. These, if done well, prevent random questions, surprises, any tiny fires that you have to fight throughout the week. Well, it reduces some. I can't promise it will reduce all of them. But the idea is it's opening up capacity on your calendar by investing this time into a weekly moment with your direct report. So I'm going to give you a prescriptive rule to go by, but first I wanted to give you some considerations so you can think about, well, what really works for you in your environment. So think about the level of the direct report. Conventional wisdom says entry-level folks are just going to need a lot more help than a senior level person. Everybody's different, but that's just generally what happens. An entry-level person might need to know more about how to navigate the project, how to navigate company politics, and a one-on-one is a perfect time for that. Think about the level of complexity and risk of the project or projects that your direct report is working on. How much touch do you need into that project in order to feel confident about the decisions that they're making? And what is the personality of your direct report? I bring this up because I've had direct reports who, we got in there 20 minutes later, they were just like, yeah, I went down my bullet list. I heard from you. I'm all set. Okay, cool. This is a moment to build relationship and show up, but that looks very different for different people. So on the other extreme, you have folks who are like, oh, how was your weekend? And I want to talk about what you're up to, talk about my dog. Totally. Like, this is a great moment to build relationships. Of course, at a certain time, this is a business conversation, so you do need to move on into the world of like, hey, what's going on, and the agenda that we'll talk about in another video. But their personality can very much affect the amount of time that you spend with them. Now, it's also a moment for you to say, well, my personal boundary is I have 30 minutes. Cool. You do have to set that for yourself. I just want to give that consideration to you. Last consideration I'll give is the amount of tenure they've had with the company. So no matter what their skill level is, entry level to senior, if they're new to the company, they might need some more direction on how am I going to navigate these relationships? Who should I be talking to? So just consider where they're at in their journey with your particular company and the dynamics that they're encountering. So, magic rule time. I recommend 30 to 60 minutes once a week. So hear me out about that. The time duration is affected by the considerations that I mentioned earlier. I highly recommend that you do this weekly. And the reason is, if you've ever worked in a company, in a corporate culture, depending on how corporate your culture is, doesn't matter, it's kind of like a time warp. Things move really fast. Sometimes they're moving really slow, but the majority of the time, like, a lot of stuff happens in a week. So many conversations happen. And you want to know what's top of mind for your direct report when it's important to them, right? When they are actually thinking about it and thinking about how to navigate those particular situations. I think if you do bi-weekly, that's an option, but you are going to have those random, like, hey, can I have a 15-minute chat with you, because something's going to come up. So ultimately, you have to use your discretion of what's possible for you and your schedule and your sanity, but I highly recommend you give weekly meetings a try for 6 weeks and do that consistently, under consistently, and see how that works for you. If you do that consistently for 6 weeks and you're just like, I'm losing my mind, you can come back here and let me know I'm full of it. Mileage may vary. You have to use your discretion. But again, I just highly recommend it's weekly for 30 to 60 minutes. All right. So in the next video, we'll talk about how am I going to roll these out? Like, I don't want to frighten my folks with suddenly, like, I'm talking to you weekly. If there isn't a culture of one-on-ones, there's some things you can do to make that transition smooth. And then we'll talk about, okay, I'm in the room. How do I actually conduct my one-on-ones? So stay tuned. We'll see you in the next video.